Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I thought I'd give you a run through of what to look for when buying a new car. So I am by no means an expert, but these are the things I have owned quite a few cars in my time. So these are the things that I generally look out for when I'm buying a new car. Probably going to make this a two-part episode because there is quite a lot to get through, and I can't imagine anybody wants to listen to me yabbering on for half an hour. So right, very first thing to check when you're looking for a new car is basically your homework before you even go and look at a car. So by that I mean, when you see a car you think, oh, I quite like the look of that, check the advert, make sure it says things like full service history, and actually follow up and check when you go to view the car that it does have what it says it has. Do an HPI check on them. So what an HPI check does is it'll tell you whether it's been in a crash, whether it's ever been in a crash, how many owners it's had, if it has any outstanding finance. Now, the number of owners our vehicles had doesn't really make much of a difference. It can be a bit of a tell as to how rough a life the car's had. But the two main ones are you want to make sure it's never been crashed, unless that's what you're looking for, a crash damaged car, and that it's not got any outstanding finance. I don't know how it works around the world, but in the UK, if a vehicle has finance on it, the finance stays with the vehicle. So if I bought this car and it had finance on it from its previous owner, I would then be liable for the finance. And the last thing you want to do is buy a car and then find out that you've got to pay £2,000, £3,000, £4,000, £5,000, £6,000 worth of finance that's still outstanding on the vehicle. Depending on the age of the vehicle, you'll want to check things like, depending on the age and the mileage of the vehicle, you want to check that it's had things done like its water pump, its timing belt. Check for that kind of thing. Check for receipts for those types of things haven't been done. Water pumps and timing belts, it's not cheap. It's probably going to cost you £500–600 to get the two of them repaired, changed. But if the timing belt snaps on a car, unless you're one of the lucky people that has a boxer engine, you're going to completely destroy the engine if the timing belt snaps. It is not worth the hassle. So just check to see if it's been done. This particular car is done just shy of 60,000 miles. It's been fairly well looked after. I know it's had its timing belt and water pump done, so I've seen the receipts. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. So let's go and move over now, and we'll go and take a look at the paperwork that comes with a car, or that should come with a car when you buy it. But apologies, this one's going to be a lot smoother, but my big tripod just decided to nuke itself. So when you get to see the car eventually, first thing to check, so this is in the UK, this only applies to the new form of the MOT certificate that you'll get with the car. First thing to check, obviously, check the make and model's right. The make and model's hiding underneath here, but I'm not putting that on YouTube. Obviously make sure it's passed, find out when its test was, find out when it's due. This is due in a couple of months. The next thing to check, one thing they've started doing, well they've done for a wee while now, but it's really handy, is it shows you the mileages of the last 3 MOTs that the vehicle's had, including when it was obviously MOT'd in 2018. Check that. The reason why you're checking that is you just want to make sure that they all keep going up, none go the other way. So for example, if it read 30,000, 38,000, 50,000 and this one said 49,000, you know there's something wrong. And if it showed a really low mileage, there'd be a reason for it. Now it could be that the vehicle was clocked, or more likely just the fact that the vehicle's been sitting in a garage for quite a while if it was somebody's second car, like this one was for me. So yeah, so that's the first thing, check the MOT certificate. The next one is check the vehicle. If it says it's got full service history, check it and make sure that it does. Obviously this is just part of the Ford handbook for this obviously particular model. If you're buying a Vauxhall, don't expect a Ford service book in the car. But yeah, so just check, make sure that all the services, make sure it's been serviced regularly, you know, 4,000 miles, 7,000 miles, 10,000 miles, 13,000 miles, just check it's been serviced regularly. And make sure that the stamps are different. The stamps don't need to be different, sorry. Check that the writing, you know, so like here where it shows you the timing belt and water pump's been done. Make sure the writing style changes, because obviously it's not going to be the same person that services the vehicle its entire life unless it's a one owner car. So just check that. It's something to make sure that somebody hasn't just gone, oh, I'll give it a full service history, rather than actually having had one. Okay, so that's it for the paperwork. So we're going to crack on with the engine now, so we'll jump over to the engine just quick. Right, so once you've checked all the paperwork on the car, next thing to obviously check is the engine. So first and most important tip about the engine on a vehicle that you're going to see, make sure that when you turn up the engine's cold. I mean like stone cold, as in it's been sitting there doing nothing for at least 6 to 8 hours. The reason for that is most of the noises you'll hear a car make that aren't healthy for the car, you'll hear when the car's cold. If it's warmed up, chances are high that you won't hear half the things that the engine might have wrong with it. So always ask the owner before you turn up to look at the car. Ask them to make sure the engine's cold and it's not been turned over, and like I say, 6 to 8 hours is usually about okay. And then obviously when you fire the engine up, when the first time you fire the engine up, just listen to it and make sure there's no weird noises, rattles, bangs, anything like that. Yeah, so first thing you want to check the dipstick. So this car is down here. If the damn thing will come out from it. Come on, stop misbehaving. You're on camera. There we go. Right, so you want to just check the oil. Make sure it's got enough in it. Come on, focus, focus.
2 hours later.
Yeah, so what we want to do is check the oil level. Which obviously just, if it'll focus on my finger maybe, try it on my finger. Yeah, so just check the oil level and check the colour of the oil as well. This car was serviced quite recently, so its oil's in quite good nick. But what you don't want to see is really black sludgy oil, especially if the owner's telling you that they've just serviced it, because they're clearly lying. And if at any point through buying a car you get the sense that the owner's not telling you the truth, genuinely just walk away. It is not worth buying a car that you think might be okay and it costing you hundreds of pounds later down the line. So yeah, first thing to check, dipstick. Second thing to check is inside the oil cap itself, right? So what you want to do is you want to just take a quick look and just make sure that all of this is clean. I mean, it's obviously going to have oil on it, but you want to make sure it's not got, well, I call it mayonnaise, but it's basically when oil and water get mixed under high pressure, it forms like a greyish mayonnaise texture. If you see that under that oil cap, walk away. It's got a blown head gasket. I'm about 95% of the time it'll have a blown head gasket, and you don't want to buy a car that's had a blown head gasket. Third thing to check your water reservoir here. Obviously on a Ford it's going to be here, other cars it'll be all over the place, but check that, it's really important. Just make sure there's always going to be a max and a min line. Now in this car the minimum is about here, and the max line is usually where that level, in fact you can see it right there, it's saying max on the side there, so just make sure that's okay. You can check that if you want. I don't think there's usually a dipstick with them, that's for your power steering, but you can check it if you want. Brake fluid, always check your brake fluid, that's really important too. This is this one here. You might not be able to get the lid off all that easily, but what you want to look for is, so at the side you'll have again a min line and a max line. Just make sure that the oil is between the two. You obviously don't want your brakes failing on you, so just give that one a check as well. Next thing to check the fitment of the headlights, believe it or not. Make sure that the gap around the headlights there is the same, first of all, on both sides. If it's not, there is a huge chance that either the headlights have been out at some point in time or the bumper's been off. You're never going to take the front bumper off on most cars unless it's had a new radiator maybe. Most likely cause of headlights being misaligned and not matching the bumpers is a front end crash. So you want to check, you know, just basically give the whole front end of the car a quick check over and make sure it looks okay. Look for things that you're going to have to probably fix at some point in time, like for example rusty turret tops. These are not bad by any stretch of the imagination, but just check them anyway. Check for rusty bolts, things like that, wires that don't necessarily go to the right place. You're just giving it a quick once over, like I say, just to make sure that everything's in a fine working order. Right, so we'll move on to the outside of the car now. So, 2 seconds. Now, I've just closed the bonnet down because I was just about to go around the side and explain the underside of the car and what to look for. It dawns on me I never said check for oil spills and water spills underneath the car. So obviously, I mean, you can tell by, it's quite a wet day in Scotland. as per usual for June. But basically what you want to do is you want to lie underneath the car just very quickly, and basically what you want to look for is any kind of oil spillage that might be underneath the car. Now again, I know this one doesn't have any oil spills because I obviously checked all this stuff when I went to buy it originally, but so yeah, check underneath the car for oil spills. If there are any, it could be anything from a £50 fix to something leaking that's really major. I can't be the judge of that, obviously. It's the reason why I put the disclaimers at the start of all my videos. If you're in any doubt, you can do one of two things. Like I say, you can either walk away, or you can get a company like the RAC or the AA. There's hundreds of companies out there actually that do this, and what they'll do is they'll go and actually check the car over for you. You'll have to obviously spend some money with them. Usually I think it's about £150, something like that, but you can pay them. What they'll do is they'll come out to the car when you're not there, as long as you obviously ask the owner's permission first, and they'll give the car 100 and something point check. You know, they'll check everything from your brakes, your suspension, the works, and they'll then give you a report that says these are all the things wrong with the car if you want to, you know, go and buy it. So yeah, like I say, I don't personally like doing that because I know enough about cars, but for anybody that's not sure, definitely worth a check. And on a side note, actually, in terms of paintwork, don't think I bought the car in quite this state. I did drive it home. I have been using it actually for a couple of weeks now, but so yeah, always make sure the car's clean when you turn up to buy it, because if it's not, it means the owner really doesn't care about it. So unless you're getting a really good price for it, I wouldn't bother your bottom wasting the time. Right, so next thing on the list is to check the sills. These sills they're not bad, to be fair. Well, I'm going to make a video at some point in time explaining underseal and how to underseal a car properly, but they'll basically reduce this or stop this from happening quite as fast as it is. But yeah, you want to just check the underside of the car, give the hole underneath of the vehicle a check over, just make sure that it's all okay and in good working order. Check for if you see any major big holes, things like that. Obviously you want to pay attention, but you give the car a quick once over, like I say. Check the seals. If the seals are in a really bad nick, and you don't happen to be a welder or a fabricator, strongly suggest walking away. Welds will cost you usually about £100 to £200 a patch, depending on where you're getting it done, and depending on the size of the patch and the amount of time. And it's, yeah, if you don't know how to weld yourself, just stay away from vehicles like that. They're not worth the time. Right, so I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump very quickly into part 2, so I can split this video up. Like I say, I've been rambling for quite a while, so I will see you guys hopefully in the next video. If you liked the video, like I say, I'd love it if you could subscribe to the channel. Trying to get to 100 subscribers. I'm getting there slowly but surely, but any help would be appreciated. And as usual, any videos you want me to make, or you want to see me review or anything, just let me know in the comments, and I'll be sure to try and help you guys out. Cheers, see you in the next one.